Hello there, I'm that gamer guy and welcome back to another video. This is in a ways part 2 to my last video, which was 10 things I did in the 2010s. And it's not necessary to have seen that video to understand this video, but I did originally hope for both videos to be one. But it turns out I talk an awful lot, so I've split them into 2 videos instead. So just go and watch part 1, I'll leave the link somewhere, I'll wait while you do. Okay. So now we've watched part 1, here we are with part 2. This video, as I've said, is 10 things I want to do in the 2020s. Now unlike part 1, this video isn't in any particular order. Instead I've just written down 10 things that I would like to accomplish within the next 10 years. So I'd say it's very unlikely that I accomplish all of these, but I thought I'd at least put the intention out there and maybe those intentions will manifest and blah blah blah. But I'd like to think that I've accomplished at least half of these. 10 years is a pretty long time. So okay, without further ado, here are my 10 things that I would like to do in the 2020s. Number 1 is the one that I'm most determined to accomplish, and that is to pass my driving test. So you may be shocked to discover that I've reached the age of 28 without learning how to drive. So you'll probably be even more shocked when you discover that I've reached the age of 28 without learning how to ride a bike. Now I'm not sure if those two things are mutually exclusive. I'm pretty sure most people that can drive a car can ride a bike as well. But yes, for whatever reason, I've never learned how to drive. I guess mainly because I've always lived in cities where public transport isn't an issue. I did take a few lessons when I became old enough to drive, but those proved fairly disastrous. But as I'm getting older, I'm realising more and more how important of a skill it actually is. So yes, number 1 is learn how to drive, and I guess, yeah, maybe learn how to ride a bike as well. So number 2 is kind of a 3-parter. Again, as I'm getting older, I'm meeting more and more people with interesting skills and interesting hobbies. And 3 skills that I've always wanted to have are to learn a language, learn an instrument, and learn some form of dance. But I've come to realise for most of my life I've been very much a sayer and not a doer. So within the next year I want to begin the process of learning these 3 skills. I want to learn how to speak French, I want to learn how to play the piano, and I want to learn how to tap dance. And I can never say I want to learn how to tap dance without laughing. But anyways, the only one of these 3 skills that I have any experience of is learning how to speak French. I've been taking French lessons on and off for the last 3 years maybe. I realise that I'm on the wrong side of age to become truly proficient in these skills, but if I can at least get the wheels in motion this year, in 10 years time, who knows? Okay, number 3 is to complete a marathon. So at this current period in my life, the only form of exercise I really get is running. And since moving to Vietnam, that has been sporadic at best. But something I've wanted to do for a while now is complete a marathon. I go to watch marathons whenever I can because there is just something about the atmosphere of marathons that is spectacular. There's a real sense that everybody is there to support each other, and I'd like to experience that at least once in my life. And also, at the risk of sounding bitchy, I've seen the physical condition of some people that have completed marathons, and surely if they can do it, I can do it. Surely. So we finished the skills and hobbies section of this list. Now we reach the travel section. Number 4 is to visit a new country every year. I mentioned in my previous video, and I'm sure in other videos, that travel has now become one of the most important parts of my life. And I've somewhat adopted the mentality that we're only on this planet once, so I may as well try and see as much of it as I possibly can before I ultimately perish. And when I say visit a country, I don't just mean a weekend break. I mean to properly travel and experience a country. Similarly, number 5 is to visit every continent. Obviously, I'm excluding Antarctica, although I would quite like to see it before I die. But yeah, so far my travel experience has been limited to Europe and Asia, so I would like to at least see parts of each of the other continents within the next 10 years. Now number 6 is to live in either Paris, Tokyo or New York. Since I can remember, along with London, I've always had a fascination with these 3 cities. And I think to live in them, even if just for a year, would be such an amazing experience. Obviously, I'm not planning on living in all 3 in the next 10 years. And given how expensive they are, I'll be lucky if I even manage one of them. But hey, I can hope, right? So that's the travel section done of this list. Now onto the scary part, the career section. Now this is the section that, in all honesty, I am least likely to accomplish. After all, there are only so many times that you can start a new career. But let's go through them anyways. Number 7 is to advance my TEFL qualification. Now I think this one will almost definitely happen. My current qualification essentially has me at the bottom of the TEFL ladder, and while it gives me the freedom to work in many countries around the world, there are some countries that I can't teach in without first receiving a higher qualification, including my own country. The next step up we have something called a CELTA, and then above that a DELTA. Now, how far I go up that ladder, I'm still undecided, but I know that at some point within the next 10 years, I will want to return to the UK. So if I want to continue my teaching, I'm going to need a higher qualification. Number 8 is to complete a postgraduate degree. I mentioned in my previous video that my undergraduate degree is in media and journalism, and that is something that I'm still passionate about. But as a consequence of the events of my life over the last 10 years, media and journalism is a career path that I have not set upon. It's also a career path that you definitely don't need a postgraduate degree or even an undergraduate degree to embark upon. But perhaps completing a postgraduate degree will give me the restart that I need to properly starting my career in that sector. But regardless of which path I take, either TEFL or journalism, I ultimately see myself ending up in the same job. And that is number 9, becoming a university lecturer. Now this might seem to be a rather weird job ambition, and maybe I've watched too many movies that have somewhat rose-tinted my perspective of this job, but for a while now this has been an ambition of mine. To teach a subject that I'm passionate about and to get paid well doing it. Now will this happen within the next 10 years? Probably not. And I'll be honest, I'm interested to see in 10 years' time if this is still even an ambition for me. And last but certainly not least on this list, that's a tongue twister, number 10 is to reach 1,000 YouTube subscribers. Well, let's be honest, at the rate that technology progresses nowadays, who knows if YouTube is still going to even exist in 10 years' time. But if it does still exist, hopefully I'm still making videos. I'm not really a YouTuber in the sense that I don't really make these videos for an audience, no offense. I make them because it allows me to see what I was doing and hear what I was thinking at certain points in my life. And this video and the previous video are the ultimate expressions of that. In 10 years' time, I can rewatch this video and see what I wanted to achieve when I was 28 years old and whether I achieved that or not. But having people watch my content and subscribe is also the most wonderful form of validation. I've gained nearly 100 subscribers in the last year, so working on a 100 subscribers per year basis, 1,000 subscribers by 2030 isn't impossible, but we shall see. So there we have it, that was my 10 things that I want to do in the 2020s. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to comment down below 10 things that you would like to do in the 2020s. And with that, I'll say goodbye. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more. If there's anything you'd like to see in a future video, then leave your suggestions down in the comments. 2020s, come at me. I hope to see you guys next time, but until then,